I needed to make an instrument that could make a squealing, like screaming, distorted sound. Quite a lot of what comes out of music making is happy accident. You can't kind of jam with people and say, right, everyone, stop a minute, hang on, I've just got to go and get onto the, wait, hang on, I'm just gonna, okay, right now, carry on. It's a hard business, you know, the margins are small, the market is small, the products are complicated, technical and expensive. The idea that like creativity is an industrialized process to produce an outcome or a product or a track or a something is in my mind mistaken. Wouldn't it be a lovely thing if we could all just lose ourselves for hours on end and, you know, not hurt anyone, not do anything unhealthy, you know what I mean? Like, just find a calm state. It's almost meditative.
At Superbooth Berlin, I sat down with George Hearn, founder and lead engineer of UDO Audio, outside a beautifully designed glamping tent that reflected the same attention to detail found in UDO's instruments. We started talking about the new DOMINO synth, but very quickly the conversation became something much deeper. Minimalism in synth design, playing synths for pure enjoyment, the state of flow, and the mistakes we make when thinking about creativity.
I needed to make an instrument that could make a squealing, like screaming, distorted sound.
Yes.
Which the supers, obviously they can, but you'd have to use external processing, etc., etc. So I wanted something that out of the box could be really, I don't know, expressively like shouty.
Okay, so Super 6 is a gentle guy, but the Domino is more like a rebel, isn't it?
Well, I'm not sure it's quite, it splits as simply down. If you imagine a Venn diagram, Super 6 is capable of some really raucous sounds as well, with excellent bass. The Domino similarly is capable of some very soft, delicate sounds as well. So imagine two circles on a Venn diagram. They cover quite a lot of common ground, but there are areas that are specific to each one. So think of the Domino as the monosynth. I think of the Super series as the polysynths. Basically. Compare the, I don't know, the Poly 6 with the Monopoly, or the Prophet 5 with the Pro 1, or the, you know, that kind of thing. You know?
I can see there is a huge attention to detail when it comes to design. So you have a Domino, you shorten the name to DMNO, not to sound too obvious, and then you've got little dominoes of how you connect two parts, because Domino has two parts, right? Like with two dots, and the Domino, the instrument, goes the same way, and then you have two colors, which is similar to Domino. So there is a clever thinking and in design. Was it your idea to put the naming?
It's actually everything? Mine and my brother's. My brother is the creative director of UDO, Magnus, and he obviously has a lot of input. The idea of making it Dominoes. Domino was the name of a like a synthesizer, a hobby synthesizer I made earlier, and I just repurposed the name. And then Magnus sort of brought in the concept of the dominoes. But it was very much from the beginning the idea that you have two engines which can split and stack and layer and alternate and fill and spill and probabilistically go to try and help you, you know, just come across new ways of playing that you might not have thought of, you know, or to basically rewire your thinking slightly.
So it's more like an artist's dream where you can just get into this blissful state of flow.
Wouldn't it be a lovely thing if we could all just lose ourselves for hours on end and, you know, not hurt anyone, not do anything unhealthy, you know what I mean? Like, just find a calm state. It's almost meditative.
Yeah, exactly. Usually when people come up with their ideas, they think there is some gap on the market. What was really your intention? Why build a synth? You know?
There was a huge gap, in my opinion, which was partly filled by some of the sequential instruments, for something that's basically much simpler, that's powerful, but still simple and operates in a kind of mechanical sense. You know, one of the reasons I think people love vintage instruments, they sound great. Lots of modern instruments sound great, plugins sound great. You know, I think one of the reasons people like them is the tactility and simplicity of the interfaces. I just went to have a look on the Bux stand here, and they've got an 808 and a 909. And the simplicity of the interface is just a joy to look at. And there's empty space areas on the panel where your eyes can rest.
Yeah.
You know, whereas a lot of, modern drum machine will pack as many knobs in as possible. And, there was a gap, I thought, for, a powerful polysynth that had like vintage tactility but modern sound.
Okay.
And it was easy to use. And the Super 6s are easy to use. And by extension, the 8 and the Gemini.
So it's more like make it more usable than just pack hundreds of features, because I think we're killing our creativity with features. Constraints is something important in creativity, isn't it?
Well, there's different angles to it. The thing is like obviously you can get excellent software synthesizers that have amazing feature sets. Why try and duplicate that in a hardware instrument? There's no point.
Yeah.
However, quite a lot of what comes out of music making is happy accident. And so if you spend all your time trying to say, right, strip down the controls, let's try and allow happy accident. And that's really what I think UDO instruments do. Start with an init patch, go on a little journey, move this, move that. And I think it's sort of, they have hidden depths, like hidden sophistications. So you can take a look at it, think, oh yeah, that's that. It looks like a Jupiter, But then you look a bit closer, it's like, oh, hang on a minute. Oh no, oh, hang on a minute. And then you see, the closer that you look, there's actually various different things. So the modules layout of the Super 6 is all ambiguous. So the envelope will loop. So is it an LFO or is it an envelope? The LFO can be played as a third oscillator. So is it an oscillator or is it an LFO? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, it blends in.
The oscillator has a low frequency mode. Is it just an oscillator, or then it's an LFO? So you can, if you think about, right, okay, I want 4 LFOs on a synth which has only got 2, then you say, okay, well, there's ways to do it. There's like a game. Okay, well, I can actually make the envelope just go up and down in a triangle and then repeat. And then I can make the second oscillator just go up and down and make that a low frequency source. And then, do you see what I mean? And there's ways to do it. Or, okay, I want an extra envelope. Well, the LFO can just do a single shot. So that can be an envelope.
So we have endless opportunities by connecting and changing the roles of different components, but on the other hand, we have a simplicity of the user interface.
Yeah. And instead of having 4 of these and 5 of these and 6 of these, you have fewer things overall that have more multi-role capability, basically. Part of the Super sound is that each oscillator is a multi-oscillator cluster, which is part of its sound, essentially.
Okay.
And each element of the cluster is carefully phased to give it its binaural characteristics, essentially. So there's a lot of jiggery-pokery underneath the hood to just give it a good sound without much user effort.
Who is it really for? I know it's a very broad question, but probably after years you see the pattern of people buying it.
It's obviously people that play primarily for their own enjoyment, and that's really what it's for. It's people that just really like to play and enjoy and not be encumbered by complex interfaces or deep menus or this kind of thing. People that just want to, plug in some guitar leads and play and get creative in their studio. It's used a lot by new jazz musicians.
Okay.
So there's quite a lot of notable soundtrack users, but Orbital gig with a Gemini.
Yeah.
In all of their gigs now, they replaced their Jupiter 6 with a Gemini. Tom York's new project uses a Super 6. All sorts of performers, basically, because it's performance friendly. You can't kind of jam with people and say, right, everyone, stop a minute, hang on, I've just got to go and get onto wait, hang on, I'm just going to, okay, right now, carry on. It's got to be right there, it's got to be immediate. You've got to be able to move a control, have immediate feedback, and then carry on, And so it's people, I guess, who want fun and immediacy, but also couple it with something that's very, very solid mechanically and very pleasing as an instrument. I think just people like stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, people appreciate things that are like well made and just sound good and just perform a function. One of the things, the barriers for a lot of people is that, like, you know, well, I can't justify buying an instrument like this for myself. You know, I'm not a professional musician or whatever, but that's really missing the point, because the idea that like creativity is an industrialized process to produce an outcome or a product or a track or a something is in my mind mistaken. The object is to actually the time spent and the process. And, you know, I think people spend a lot of time enjoying our instruments, and that's what they're for. For a few lucky people that maybe make a career or make something, or are lucky enough to perform to others with what they've done, fantastic, good for them. But for the primary people, myself included, they're to just play and enjoy.
Okay.
You know?
I don't know if you've heard Fox's Tales. He's doing some instrumental music.
No, I haven't.
He's using Super 6.
For example, this sound from Beacon was made on this synth.
You have a boutique company that produces, manufactures synths. You need to sell it at the end of the day. You need to have a team of people to manage. How do you connect all the roles of being an inventor, founder?
Get yourself a good operations manager and pay them.
Properly?
Yeah.
So you can focus on inventing.
Yeah, but then worry about money all the time. It's a hard business. You know, the margins are small, the market is small, the products are complicated, technical and expensive. You know, if it was any other industry, you'd charge much bigger margins for it. So it's hard, it's tough juggling it all. Yeah, just have to keep control of costs, have good people, and you know, just try and be disciplined, and try and maintain quality, and just try and have a long-term view of what things actually cost. Because often things seem cheaper in the short term, they're more expensive in the long term, and sometimes it's better to spend more, and you know, but then, yeah, it's hard, it's just hard work. I haven't got any pearls of wisdom because I'm still working it out, unfortunately, but yeah, get some help.
Yeah.
I think the best advice.
And UDO, since in audio in a few years, where do you see yourself? Another model sometime in the future? I know it's too soon, probably, because
I want to diversify a bit. Yeah, types of instrument, price brackets. There's all sorts of ideas. I want to do more accessories for our instruments.
Better margins,
maybe. Maybe, yeah. So yeah, lots of ideas. I'm certainly never stopping.
Brilliant. Never do.